And welcome to State of Play. We're talking about a budget. So what's the political verdict on it? I mean, you cannot take this budget out of the political context because it is the last mid-year budget review before the elections. So it's just what it is. You have to look at it within that context. And it's partly the reason why the start delayed on around 2 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of wheeling and dealing in the background. And what we had at the time was because it had to do with some common fund issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the MPs needed their money because as they go on recess, they have to go and send
they have to go and monitor. See, part of the common fund is monitoring and evaluation. So they have to go and monitor and evaluate the common fund itself, the usage of the common funds as part of their oversight.
It's not about their share of the common fund and what they want to use it for.
It's also part.
But that's the main thing.
No.
But why are you being charitable?
No, I'm not being charitable. In fact, if you
MPs
understand
want to go and monitor and evaluate. So they are holding up the budget.
If you understand the dealings of the common fund, you see the MP share of the common fund must be accounted for.
Yes.
Monitoring and evaluation is unaccounted for. You get my point?
But you get money to go and monitor and evaluate.
Yes. No. In fact, it's a lot of money.
Okay.
So they love that money because their share of the common fund. Look, if you have a wicked DCE, he actually will not give it to you, right?
Okay.
You can tell you, this is not part of the, because it must be in line with the Assembly's medium-term development plans. What you intend to do. Some, probably will use it to sponsor students and say, okay, so, but the real deal is the monitoring and evaluation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
So they take the money to go and do monitoring and evaluation.
Monitoring and evaluation, yes.
I see. And they say that money is bigger than their share of the
No, it's not bigger than the share of the common fund. I'm not sure it is. I need to check. But at least that one is for you to go around. But the common fund itself, you have to account for it. You have to account for it.
If you do something with it, we need to see it.
You have to account for it. So if you, which one do you prefer? The one you're going to account for? Or the one you're not going to account for? You say I'm monitoring and evaluating things. And the other thing is that it doesn't end there. Even when it comes to, in the past, there used to be HIPIC. Some funds for MPs to monitor a few things. Even health insurance projects. A lot of things will come in. But we'll leave that for another day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, political context. Well, the context of the elections, and he went to present it. The first for Adam, who assess his performance.
Yeah.
But let's look at some of the specifics. Considering that we have 4 months to an election, but also because we have an IMF program, this media budget review, for me, had almost nothing in it.
No, I don't.
And to be fair though to Adam, he couldn't have done anything.
No, the
economic framework has been set within the IMF program. You have to play within that. I didn't expect him to come and ask for more money. I heard people say he will come possibly and take out the COVID-19 levy. I knew that was not going to happen because that had been factored into the IMF program and the revenue that we are going to get for this year. True or false?
True.
Okay. So if you take it out, you have to tell us how you're going to plug that particular hole. So that wasn't possible. And then obviously, for me, one of the significant things though is this, and many people missed that though. I don't know if you picked up on it. The reduction in the appropriation.
Yes.
From 2023. To the tune of some 21 billion.
It was about 2026, so 226.
Yes.
To 219.
Yeah, billion. Yes.
Yeah, so a reduction of some 7 billion.
Yes.
But the challenge really, and I was making the point. That look, you have interest payments. I need to look at the updated expenditure everything again because you have interest payments that we budgeted for 19 billion. I know some will make the argument that okay, but these are monies that you need to raise. Of course, we knew how much money you're going to raise. Okay, so if you're going to raise that money, and you now say that because of these interest payments. And because we have a moratorium, and so I am now reducing expenditure by 7 billion. The 19 billion external debt interest payment that you budgeted for, what happens to it? We need to understand, for instance, when it comes to the Eurobond, you talked about the savings. What's the real deal? Are you paying money this year? It doesn't look like. If it doesn't, you're not going to pay money.
I've seen some data that suggests that we're going to pay
$400 million. Yes. But if you're paying $400 million, that's about $6 billion. If you add that, it's $13 billion. It's not up to 19. So the 19 billion, for instance, what happens to the remainder? That's something I would want to, get at. Because you see, this is the point. This is the point. You would prefer that once government has this opportunity, it would actually reduce its deficits. Mm-hmm. And so you don't say, I'm going to spend all of that money. There are those who also would argue that, if you have savings, why don't you put it in, say, the economy, productive sectors of the economy? I do not trust government to be productive in an election year.
No.
I have seen lots of road projects going on. I've just seen pictures of, projects that were started, that were suspended a year ago, now being started again. The Ashaiman-Akosombo Road, I'm told, they're going to start, they've started that again. You ask yourself the simple question, do we ever learn in this country?
But those roads, they've already budgeted for them, right? And they were frozen, obviously, because of the challenges we had.
Yeah, so if you didn't have money, so you see, you didn't have
But the money is in, right?
No, where's the money?
Because they've told us that the IMF last tranche that we got was largely going to be for projects.
You see, Evans.
Right, so if that's the case, that they're getting the money.
No, you see, you're getting what money?
The IMF money.
The IMF money, the $360 million.
That's what they told us. I remember this was Ken Ofori-Attah's last briefing before he left, where he laid out what they were going to use that money for. And he said that partly they're going to use that money for projects. But you
see, this is the point.
And so they've listed Accra-Kumasi Highway, they've listed the Accra-Takoradi Highway, Takoradi-Agona and Kwanta Junction, Temafienya Road, all of them.
Yeah, but you see,
will be prioritized.
These are things, look, why? Have we not been in this country that we've had Accra-Kumasi Road consistently and we're still where we are? Yes, some work has been done, to be fair. Some work has been done. But my problem is that I am always concerned when roads started in an election year, 6 months to elections. I'll give you a typical example. Where I live, in November 2020, I wasn't feeling well in the heat of COVID-19. And at the time when all of us were scared that we were preparing for elections, and I was scared. So I was being driven home by Victor Brache. Just as I was getting to the house, I realized they were grading the road. November 2020. With pretense that they were going to construct the road. That was the last we saw of the road. We have called on assembly.
So they graded the road for a month.
Listen to me. This was a road that was tarred. There were potholes in it. Okay. So and this road could actually move from there to Yarefa Junction from my estate in 7 minutes. I like to calculate so that when I'm leaving home, I know that if I leave at this time, I can get here at that time. I can get here at that time, and then get to work. In a month to election, graded the road. They didn't do anything. After the elections, why? We took the assembly on and on and on and on and on. This year, they've started. Again.
But this time they started 4 months early.
This time they started somewhere in May. So I see lots of stuff on the road. I see that they're trying to expand the drainage, the drains. So it looks like this time round, at least because the Medina stretch, that stretch is, two districts, Lankwantanan Medina and Ga East.
Yeah.
The Medina stretch has been tarred. So there's pressure on the Ga East side to be tarred. So they're doing that one. That is there. But I'm just saying that, look, because I saw it in 2020, and I've seen it in other years. I can give you examples from 96, from 2000 when I was living in Ho, that every year, every election year, they come and, start projects, and after elections, they're gone.
My road, my famous...
Oh, yes, the Sino Hydro project.
The Sino Hydro. They've started.
Again. But they started and stopped.
Aggressively. No, they never started. This is the first time they're actually doing it. They started this possibly 3 months ago.
Okay.
So possibly April. Yeah. They're about, or March.
But they did some gradings along somewhere last year. They did some grading.
No. They didn't do anything on that road. This is the first time they're doing it. And it's moving very quickly. They started at, obviously, the Adenta barrier, because that's when you branch.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. You know where they are now? They are possibly 500 meters to the university, Valley View.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I stopped using that road.
Yeah. They, literally 500 meters.
They've tarred that side?
No, so they've expanded the road to the right. They've done the drainage. They've poured in the gravel, leveled it. It's smooth. They've dug it. They really dug it. It's properly done. They dug it, and that's what they've done from Adenta. They'll dig a kilometer, and they'll pour in all the stones and all the other materials you require, and then they'll grade it formally and press it. The only thing you now need to do is to put on the asphalt, right?
See why we must hold in elections every 2 years.
And they've done the drains all the way. I'm telling you, they are almost at the Valley View University, right? And this they've done in the last 4 months or so, or less. But here's the thing. But you're right. My point is, there's no way to finish this road before December 7th. It's not possible, right? There's no way. What happens at December 7th is a big question.
You're finished.
So my wife is very excited. I'm like, please, this one, it can actually leave you more frustrated.
Yeah.
Because when they leave it, the next government will come and tell you, Ghana is broke. You can bet they'll tell you Ghana is broke. If Ghana is broke, first of all, I didn't see it in the budget. And that sort of alarmed me. I'm like, so where are they getting the money to do this? But me, I just want the road. So I'm happy that at least it's being done, although the Sino Hydro Funds isn't in. Government is doing it, right? So that for me is good.
Well, a lot of the monies government is getting, mind you, government indicated that it missed its total revenues for the first half of the year, revenue and grants, by some 0 point something percent. Okay, so even though we exceeded our tax revenue, we didn't get our total revenue. Of course, we may know those challenges. So if tax revenue, exceeds target, we can raise the 176 billion. If we're able to raise the 176 billion, now mind you, of the 176 billion, it means then you're left with a gap, because now you're looking at 219 billion. You're looking at a gap of some 43 billion. 43 billion, which you're borrowing mainly from domestic sources. Is the reason today it's very difficult to get a loan from the bank. So they will get that money. And a huge part of it also is domestic interest payments that they have to do. So, and you know what they do? They borrow to pay. They borrow to settle, maturing debts. So if that is the case, they can actually, and the savings that they may have made from, the term savings, because you had budgeted for it, you're going to pay for it, but now you're no longer going to pay for it. So if you're able to raise that money, then it means you don't have to spend it on what you earlier anticipated, which is the payments of interest. Okay? But what you don't know also is that, beyond this, there's a huge, arrears that government has to pay, which normally is not captured in our expenditure that they share in the budget, but it's in the Appropriation Act. But if you were to go to the budget, after the line is drawn, beneath the line, you see the amortization itself, and you see the, the arrears that government has. So that in itself is a problem. But this is the point. Once they're not going to be paying these interests, there's a lot of space for them. A lot of money available. That's what I was trying to find out. So even if you were to pay 6 billion to the Eurobond holders, okay,
you're not paying that now.
You're left with some additional 6 billion.
But that's not money they have sitting there.
You don't have.
Yeah.
But that's money you've budgeted for. You see, this is the point. So if you actually meet that target, what people don't realize, and I'll tell you one of the things that, from my little understanding of accounting, if I budget for this amount of money, I'm supposed to raise funds to do so. But I actually indicated I'm going to borrow. So I'm supposed to raise this amount of funds and the rest borrow. If you approve it for me, and I come back and I say, oh, I'm not reducing it, but I don't reduce it by the total margins that I'm supposed to have saved, it means that I have additional funds that I can use for other things that I have not budgeted for. You get the whole thing.
But government they did the 2024 budget in anticipation that some funds will flow in.
Hold on a minute. But government did the 2024 budget in anticipation that they're going to pay 19 billion. Now, he says, when it comes to the official creditor committee, they are not paying anything. The Eurobond bit, he talks about the savings. And that's why you can understand that the Eurobond, we're told they're going to be paying $400 million. But when it comes to the official creditors, the 5.1 billion, they're not paying anything until post 2026. So what that means is that there's something there. But at the time government was presenting the budget, they did not know what was going to happen.
But by the time they printed, they had frozen. We had frozen.
Yeah, you have frozen that. But you have frozen that. But also,
payment.
yes, but make provision so that in case you are unsuccessful.
But they didn't make provision. Yeah, we didn't make provision.
They made 19 billion in the budget.
No, of course, that was written in the budget. But do you think there's a bank account that said we had 19 billion to go? No, we didn't have that.
No. The mistake people make, you say there is no bank account. That is true. But if I say I am going to spend this money, there's no bank account, right? But if I am able to, I told you, I'm going to borrow. That's why there's a deficit. Today, we missed our target by less than 1% of GDP. What I am saying is that, by less than 1%, what I'm saying is that if we perform tax revenue and we meet the target and we go ahead and borrow the about 43 billion that we'll borrow now because we've actually slashed our this thing, it means that we have money available and we have some 6 billion more left that we anticipated was going to be used in the payment of debts, interest payments, which is now available to be used on other projects. You get my point I'm trying to make? So that is there. That is there. And so, I say that if you have made those savings, slash all of it because you had your plan for the year. Of course, people would say other things, but this is the other point. E-levy. First of all, I don't understand why you sent me a signal in July that you would introduce e-levy, you would introduce road tolls again in 2025. I don't know why because you see, this is the point. Because of the introduction of e-levy, we said that, we are not going to, we're going to scrap
that was kind of Royal's justification that we're abolishing road tolls to accommodate
e-levy. E-levy today gives government over 1 billion Ghana cedis. Road tolls give government 80 million. So what's the justification?
But it's key to Mensah. We still need that port.
There's no business to bring road tolls back. Well,
and remember that the road tolls that they're bringing back is to address two things. They want to do PPP. So they want to bring the road tolls back as a means of raising monies for the private sector to participate.
Then scrap e-levy.
Well, that's the argument. And this is a problem they created for themselves.
Yes.
Because of the explanations that they gave us. They want to reconstruct the motorway. And don't do that under PPP. You want to do that under PPP. The guy who's going to put his money in that will want the money back. So he wants to toll that particular stretch and make the money back. So you have to reintroduce that. But I agree with you 100% that because you gave us the assurance that we are abolishing road tolls, so we are accommodating e-levy. If you're bringing it back, what happens to e-levy?
Scrap it.
It's a fair question to ask. It's a fair question to ask. But we know that where we are right now, 2025 is going to be more difficult than 2024. It's because the way we structured our debt, you're going to be paying a bit more significantly in 2025. Whoever wins the election will have to find money to do just that. Your Eurobond payments under the restructured arrangement will kick in, right? I mean, after bilateral 2026. So you have some room to play. That clearly for me is an issue. And let's talk about the politics a bit more. Let's talk about politics of this. So the finance minister finishes presenting this budget and you're scratching your head, okay, so what is in it for me? And they point to the fact that, so a few things that I thought, they're going to amend the Labour Act, for example, and bring paternity leave and maternal, but you like that. I mean, you don't like that.
I'm not sure I'm going to have another child. So that's not...
you get maternity leave extended, and then you get paternity leave too, which wasn't there before. And then they make the point about creating this fund for SMEs, which...
The 8 billion
The 8 billion, yes. Right? And that for me is where the questions really are. For a party approaching election to get Parliament to approve 8 billion for SMEs, Winston, you know what happens in elections in the end.
Oh, yes.
Right? Sticker, Stephen Amoah, who is the Deputy Finance Minister, was on PMS. And it was categorical that this time they're going to give the money out based on merit and based on meeting set criteria, and that's going to be political. But how do you convince me a politician who is administering this 8 billion to SMEs will not take advantage of that for political advantage?
It's actually pooling, and that's one of the things politicians will not tell you. It's pooling, and so you have some international donors, and this one is going to be managed by, I'm told there are partner banks too, who manage them. So they put resources together and say, okay, so if you need help, you bring your plan and then they give it to you. This could be a departure from what we've seen with Maslog and NEIP, which have no business surviving, to be very honest with you. I mean, you don't need an NEIP because it doesn't make sense that, you're talking about the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, and you have a YEA that has a lot of funds available to it, and you're creating, every time they go and create just partisan jobs, just for elections, they threw out figures, okay? Because one of the things that MasterCard has shown, for instance, the MasterCard Foundation, is that you can give money to financial institutions to lend these monies to entrepreneurs between 5 to 10%, and they will pay back. Not everybody must qualify. So it is not you saying, go and see Evans Mensah, and he will call the minister, and they will give you money. Because in that case, it is your plan that will show. If you need money today, you will go to, if you're going to take a loan, you're going to present reasons why you should be giving a loan. If you qualify, they give you the loan. But unfortunately, our problem is that in the past we've had that problem. So this is like pooling of resources together. I hope it works. Yeah. Because it must work. Look, I have said that one of the best things Ken Ofori-Atta did was the Economic Enclave Project. And Evans, you should go to Kusinya. I hope I got the name right. Around after Tripoli. Yeah. Look, yes, is it more than 10,000 acres of land, which is being used for rice production. I have seen it. It's supported by MIDA, the MasterCard Foundation. You have the Ministry of Finance, you have Ministry of Defense. And the soldiers are the ones constructing the road. And there's an irrigation. Look, this is something that Ken Ofori-Atta should have done in the first year. If we had done that in the first year, today, we would not be fighting food inflation. Today would have been self-sufficient when it comes to food. So if that project is continued, in the next 10 years, we know that we could get somewhere. So they're trying to pull resources together and give them to SMEs. I just hope that doesn't become another political tool because it's an election year. Because we saw what happened to CAPBAS, Coronavirus Alleviation Program Business Support Scheme, CAPBAS. They say we give money to hundreds of thousands of businesses. Ask them, those money that they give to the businesses, what have the businesses done with those funds? That's always our problem.
Look, so if this budget was a sign of things to come, and remember they will read another one in November, how did the finance minister score?
Well, I need to issue a caveat. That, first of all, I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah, myself.
And this is he only telling you what we currently have and what we may want to do differently. I've always had my concerns about issues of taxation and how we ensure compliance. You see, the whole say we're going to ensure compliance, we're going to enroll people onto this thing. Well, that's good. But you see, Evans, I've said it before, that Anthony Doku, who was then a deputy commissioner at the Ghana Revenue Authority in 2015, April 10, I'm sure, yes, in April, wrote to the then deputy chief of staff, Valerie Sawyer, as part of the Special Operations Unit, and indicated that an estimated 36 billion Ghana cedis was lost at the ports. Evans Mensah, this is 2015, 10 years ago, estimated 36 billion. Do you know how much we're losing today?
How much?
Well, if we lost 36 billion at the time, at the port, and there were other documents that showed that when it comes to VAT, and because of under-declaration and non-filling of returns, we're losing an estimated over 20 billion Ghana cedis. I suggest to you that today, yes, and these are facts. If anybody, last time I did it, I just went online. Before we go, I will just show you that Ghana loses, Ghana loses 36 billion at the port. You could just go and Google it. This is billion. At the port, okay, you will see it. You would see it. Yes, you will see how much we've been losing. Okay, these are the stories. Okay, so this one, There's one, I think it's PSF. Let me just quickly get that one and just read it out to you. Because it was something that was published. Okay. It's here. It says, this is a story that was published on the 19th of May, 2015. I read the first paragraph to you, and you can, it's opening. I mean, so that you can just understand what I mean when I say that. It says, Ghana loses more than 36 billion in revenue as a result of fraudulent activities on the part of some importers, officials of GRA, and the Special Operations Unit at the Special Operations Unit at the Presidency has said.
I see.
That's it. It says it's estimated that more than 50 articulated trucks enter Ghana through various entry points weekly without paying taxes. A memo dated April 10, this is it, 2015, from Deputy Commissioner of the GRA, Anthony Doku, and copied to the Deputy Chief of Staff, estimated revenue loss to the person. But even the articulated smuggling alone was 500 million. Falsified invoices. And other, it is there. It is there.
And the thing that breaks my heart is that we know the problem.
Yeah.
So why don't you stop it?
Well, see, and it said there's also a category, okay, of value-added tax traders who charged and collected VAT on behalf of the state, but failed to pay same. It's here. You can see it. It's here. It's here, and that's our problem. That is our problem. So the money is right here. We have a lot of funds available. Unfortunately, it goes down the drain.
And we cry that we don't have money.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the verdict is we haven't answered the question.
Oh, I mean, I'll score him 5/10.
Okay, I'll give him 6.5.
Okay.
Give him, because he stayed within what we expected, and he says he's going to reduce expenditure. We'll see. And I was asking the question that I didn't get an answer to, not from you, but from the finance minister, the deputy finance minister. So the expenditure you're saying you're going to cut, which areas exactly are you cutting it from?
I don't tell you.
Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening.